Hello, I'm Courtney and welcome to Book Talk. Today we're talking about The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This is the first book in the Hunger Games trilogy, and if you have not read this book, which I'm guessing most of you guys have, go read the book because I literally love this book. I thought I wasn't, but I did. So read the book and then come back and we'll discuss it together. So bye, not spoilers. Okay, so let's talk about part 1. So we have 16-year-old Candace Everyday, and it's the day of the reaping. And the reaping is where 12 through 17-year-olds, or maybe 18, it said 12 through 17. And you go up, and so they pull a girl name out, and that is your girl tribute for District 12. And then they pull a boy name out, and that is your boy tribute. And they go up to the Capitol, they have training, they have 10 minutes to perform to the game makers, show them what they got, and then you're in the Hunger Games, and you're in this arena trying to kill each other. The first one who is still alive wins, goes on a victor tour, gets a bunch of money, just gets a lot of good stuff. So Candace has a 12-year-old sister named Prim, and this is her first time going to the reaping. And Katniss is like, oh yeah, she'll be fine. And then we have Gale, and Katniss goes into the woods, which she's not supposed to, and they're talking about what's going to happen. Then it's the reaping time, and so I was really shocked about the reaping. I don't know why. But, so, Effie, I literally loved Effie. She's just so nice and sweet. I was just like, oh, it's great. So Effie's like, happy Hunger Games, may the odds ever be in your favor. And so she's like, ladies first. So we get the lady name, and guess who it is? Primrose Everdeed. Candace is like, Prim, this is our first time and I've been here more than her. What are you, crazy? And then Katniss, great idea. She's like, I volunteer as tribute. I'm just like, you volunteer to go somewhere where you will live or die? But I was like, I don't think a 12-year-old wants to go into the games. So Katniss is a tribute for District 12. And then we have the boys, and it's Peeta Mellark. And I love Peeta Mellark. Let me tell you, Peeta Mellark is just amazing. I loved him. And she's like, Peeta! She kind of didn't like Peeta in this book. And I was just like, oh, how do you not like Peeta, Katniss? And we have this flashback memory of how Peeta threw her some bread when it was raining. Like, she was sitting on a tree, and, she was just having a bad life, And he helped her. And I saw it. Who couldn't like Peeta? I just can't get over that fact. And so they go off to the Capitol, and they have their mentor, Haymitch. And Haymitch is like drunk 24/7. I love him. No, not really. He's just drunk and low, just made crazy. And they get to eat a bunch of food. And then the chariots, they get so nice and fancy by Katniss has Cinia, and I literally love Cinia in this. He's just so cool. And Peeta has Portria. I just like Cinia better. And Peeta's held out his hand, and they hold hands and like this, and Katniss is blowing out kisses. It's great. And then the training's interesting. They train, and then so each person has 10 minutes to show the game makers what they got. So Katniss goes first. And so she gets the bow and arrow and shoots it through the glass into the pig's apple. just a little interesting, just smidge. But she got an 11 for that. It was just like, wow, you got an 11? And then we had the interviews with Caesar, and I loved the interviews. And you know, Hamish was like, "You're the star-crossed lovers of District 12." I thought personally it was a really bad idea because I'm like, I don't think anyone was gonna believe it. But I was totally like, oh my gosh, this is like the greatest idea. But I didn't want it to be acted. So Hamish and Candace were like, they made this idea to be in love with Peeta. I was like, make it real. Don't be a fake. Then the interviews. Peeta's interview was really just like, I loved Peeta's interview. I have it. And so, handsome lad like you, there must be someone special, girl. Come on, what's her name, says Caesar. Peeta says, well, there is this one girl. I've had a crush on her ever since I can remember. But I'm pretty sure she didn't know I was alive until the reaping. I was just like, oh, she had to know you were alive because she saw you. First, I didn't know. At first, I was like, Katniss, so that's why I was thinking that. But then I was like, well, it may be someone else. But anyway, she had another fellow, asked Caesar. I don't know, but a lot of boys like her, says Peeta. So here's what you do. You wait and go home. She can't tear you down then, says Caesar encouragingly. I don't think it's going to work out. Winning won't help in my case, says Peeta. Why ever not, says Caesar. Peeta blushes beet red and stares out. Because she came here with me. Then you're at part 2. I'm just like, yes! He has a crush on Katniss, and that's where my ship for Katniss and Peeta started. So, part 2, so Katniss gets angry and, like, it's just, like, choking Peeta. I'm like, no. I was mad. And then, we're at the games. Katniss is practically alone most of this time. And, you know, she's, like, climbing trees, you know, trying to survive her best. She doesn't kill anyone until part 3. And it's all crazy, you know. There's these careers, and they're, like, the group of this. And Peeta somehow gets there, and, like, the careers and Katniss kind of meet, and it's just crazy, and all of a sudden, Glimmer dies. I was literally just really sad when Glimmer died. I didn't know her that much. I was just like, and guess what Katniss does? She steals her bows and arrows. I'm like, really? Really? But I'm like, well, let's see why she did that. But Katniss is alone a lot. And she never really talked to Peeta a lot. I don't think they did. She's just alone most of the time. There's nothing really to talk about in here. Maybe. There's not a lot to talk about in part 2. But then, but the most important part of part 2 is, so that Claudius person, I was so confused the whole time of who Claudius was. I think he was the game maker. Yes. And so Claudius' voice booms, and so he's saying how there's a rule change in the games, and how both tributes from the same district will be declared winners if they're the last two alive. And I'm just like, oh, Katniss and Peeta can live together. Yes. And so she's like, 2 tributes can win this year if they are from the same district. Both can live. Both of us can live. Before I can stop myself, I call out Peeta's name. Oh, you called out Peeta's name. I'm like, you do like Peeta. I knew it. That's like the only important part. She's alone like the whole time. So part 2, I mean, a lot of don't get me wrong, a lot of intense stuff happens, but part 2 is not that important. Part 3 is like the part I literally loved. So part 3, I loved part 3. It's probably my favorite part of the book. So Katniss finds Rue when they make an alliance, and they destroy the supplies of the careers, and then they're getting back together, and all of a sudden, Rue is stabbed with a spear, and then Katniss kills the guy who kills Rue. So that's her first kill, and Rue asks for Katniss to sing a song. She does, and Katniss covers her with flowers, and then Rapunzel does this and walks away. So the symbol is there. It's awesome. But I was so sad when she died. I was also sad when her District 11 boy tribute died, Thresh. That was also so sad. And then Katniss finds Peeta, and he's in the ground covered like camouflage, and his leg's broken, And then they find this cave, and they kiss like a bunch of times, and like it's so amazing. And there was this feasting at the cornucopia, and Thresh was going to kill Katniss but let her go because of Rue. And then Thresh dies because Peeta's just like, Thresh's dead. And I was just like, no! It's so sad. And so Katniss and Peeta and Cato are left, and then they go to the cornucopia, and all of a sudden you see this mud. And then you see the eyes, and it's Glimmer's eyes. And then you see a bunch of other muds, and they're all the tributes. And Katniss sees Rue, she's just like, ugh. And they're trying to kill Cato, and there's these muds. And then Cato gets, dragged by the mud. And then they come back in the morning, and Cato is somehow alive still by these muds. But Katniss kills him with her bow and arrow and in his skull. And then, so they're waiting for the announcement, and nothing's happening. And all of a sudden, they're like, there's been a change in the games again. Only there can be one winner. What? Completely angry. And so Katniss has a bow and arrow at Peeta's heart. They're trying to decide who's going to kill who. And, it just can't. So then they have the berries. So it's poisonous berries. So they're both going to commit suicide. And she's like, trust me. On the count of 3, and Peeta then kisses her gently. And she, so great. And then they're like, 1, 2, 3. And they're about to eat. And then they're like, stop. Okay, you're the victors of the 74th Hunger Games. So Katniss and Peeta both win. Boom. Yes. And they have the interviews, and then they're going back to District 12, the victors, It's gonna be famous, sort of, that they're gonna have their acts, Dark Arts Lovers, and Haymitch is all like, keep it up in District 12, and Peeta's like, what is he talking about? And then Katniss tells him about the act, and I'm just like so sad. I'm mad at Katniss because I'm like, ho. So they get there, and Peeta holds out his hand, and he's like, one more time. And so the book ends with this small paragraph, and I'm just like, gosh. She says, I take his hand, holding on tightly, preparing for the cameras, and dreading the moment when I finally have to let go. End of book 1. Oh, why did you have to end like that? Nah. But the Hunger Games, I didn't realize how much I was going to love this book. I love Katniss and Peeta. I want them together. I hope Gale is more important in Catching Fire, because he's not that important in this book. But I love this book. This book is amazing. I loved it. Now I get to watch the movie, and I'll do a review on that, a review and discussion on that. So yeah, I would like you guys to read the Hunger Games because it's very good. So yeah, Team Peeta, Katniss, go to Peeta, please. Please. I can't believe their love thing with an act though. Just got on my nerves. But yeah, that's the Hunger Games. May the odds ever be in your favor. Bye, you guys.